right, welcome to Cream episode number 17. Dollar bills, y'all. I appreciate you guys going and checking out the new episode. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like it.
My question to you was like, obviously inflation is shocked the hell out of everyone and is scaring everyone, and recession, and you see a lot of big corporations are cutting back and stuff like that already. It's which is the intended purpose of raising interest rates, right? But there's still like an unbelievable amount of jobs available and hiring, and people are still quitting their jobs, and so it's really a sort of an unprecedented economy. So what are you seeing out there? What are your initial thoughts?
It's very complicated. So we are seeing inflation. And here in the Bay Area, one thing we're seeing, I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago who worked for a tech company, and they're doing a hiring freeze right now. But you're seeing in tech, in the tech space, you're seeing layoffs, and then also you see in the mortgage industry. But then overall, you still have a huge job shortage as well. So it's like a mixed bag far as job openings, far as people laying off than the people are hiring, and then far as real estate, just looking at it, you're seeing a lot more reduced prices out there compared to when you saw a year ago, where you might have 50 to 75 people doing offers. So, it's very complicated right now. We do see inflation. You see it with gas prices. Every time you go up to the pump, you see it with food prices. And I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if the Feds actually have interest rates underneath control. I doubt that they actually have. If you listen to a lot of economists, they say it takes like a year for the interest rates to reflect from a year from now. So we'll see from that. So it's very interesting. I've seen people in the real estate market are very nervous right now about what's going to happen as you see a slowdown in the number of people who's purchasing. I talked to a client yesterday, and they said I was buying a brand new home. It was getting developed. By the time it got almost about to get built, the price that I was going to pay a year ago for the mortgage interest compared to now, the interest had doubled, and I can't afford to pay that, so I backed out the deal. And then you said stats about that just last year, not last year, but like last week, about how so many people are backing out of real estate deals. And she's a perfect example. She said, I saw that break in the rate and how it's going to pay is astronomical. I couldn't afford it, so she backed out of it. So
yeah, from a real estate perspective, when rates have doubled or more even since just the beginning of the year, just 6 months, that's shocking, obviously, to the system. That's, something that's sort of unprecedented to go up that quickly, that high, that quickly. So of course there's payment shock now, and now we're just jumping into the real estate part of it, which is the one part I know decent. It doesn't mean that people are paying twice as much for the same home, because that's just looking at a 30-year fixed conventional loan, right? Correct. Now, there's a whole lot of other creative ways. I mean, you could get a 15-year fixed. Yeah, your payments are higher, but if you have the means, the total cost, the true cost that you're paying is way lower, and the rates are way lower than that of a 30-year fixed. And then, of course, there's adjustable rate mortgages or ARMs. And so those are still in the, low 4%. Not the mid or high 5% like many 30-year fixed. Then there's also rate buy downs. There's FHA loans that are assumable. So if someone purchased a house, this may be less prevalent in the Bay Area where prices are so high. So it probably, caps out of FHA in the Bay Area. But if someone bought a FHA home with FHA loan, that loan is assumable with certain conditions, but it's commonly assumable. So someone buying your home can take on that FHA loan if they qualify. So, if you had a FHA loan for 3.75, you could sell the house with the loan attached, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So my point is there's a whole lot of ways people could adjust. I think right now it's whiplash. It went from the hottest sellers market probably in history to, like we said, rates doubling and everyone like, oh my God, I need to back out. I can't afford it. But I think no matter if rates go to 6% or they stay under or in the fives, I think the market will find its equilibrium, and buyers will, it's sort of like when COVID started, everyone was so shocked that they did nothing. And then people started realizing, life goes on and it's the new normal. So I think the real estate market's going to be fine. A lot of mortgage officers, like I said, were making tons of money and they thought they were rock stars and they didn't save any of it. And some of them may be out of business, but I think the market itself will be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. Before we got this podcast, I talked to somebody who sells PMI with a major insurance company, and
Mm,
she says people are getting more creative just on the PMI side, where you have people who are sellers are willing to pay off people PMIs who don't have it so they can afford to buy.
yep.
So I think the big thing is we're going to see more people being flexible and being more
Yep.
strict and more creative with flexible financing compared to before. So I think creative financing is back in full swing from now. And I think that's just the place we have to be in. I don't think the market's dead. I think people just have to be more creative and just think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, well said. And it's going to go from the extreme seller's market. You think of a seesaw and it was, one side was all the way touching the ground, the other side way up in the air, which is buyers. But now it's going to be a lot more balanced. And so that's not a bad thing at all. And when people talk about factors in the real estate market that are different from 2008, because people try to compare this to 2008. Well, now we have record equity. We have back then, everyone was getting their houses 100% financing, refinancing every 3 to 6 months. I mean, we had negative equity. Now we have, I don't know the exact number, but a record number of equity. So if people want to, they could sell the house, they could stay in the house, they could, but also people in the past 10 years, really, since that crash, have largely gotten 30-year fixed responsible loans. So there's none of this. Not a lot of interest only, not a lot of short-term adjustable, not the negative amortization, the option arm loans that were just so bad for the market. And so the point is, we're not going to see a bunch of foreclosures. All that happened is that the seesaw is going back to the middle. Sellers will have to get a lot more creative again. Buyers will have to use creative financing, and prices will stop going up as quickly, probably pretty much level off. But I think real estate will still be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It might drop a little bit, but it's not going to go 2008. And the big difference also in 2008, the credit, people don't realize the credit market stopped in 2008. Literally,
Yeah.
Your line of credit froze. Everything froze. Right now, you can still there's still credit and financing. Oh, wait, the credit market's shut down completely. That's the big difference at this point. People don't realize.
Yeah.
I don't think this resembles anything like '08. When I studied history, which I've been kind of geeked out about this inflation, it reminds me of the 70s more and then the 1940s, but does not resemble 2008 at all. So,
No, 2008 was a total anomaly with that. You're right. And, from a consumer perspective, everyone had, a house that they owed $450, again, Sacramento prices probably, but they owed $450 and it was worth, after a year or two, it was worth $320, if that. And, of course, most people using their heads would make the financial decision that makes no sense to hold on to it and keep paying. And their mortgage got more expensive because it was adjustable or whatever. So, but let's talk about inflation. I know we started talking about the economy, and then we got sidetracked with real estate, which is important, but inflation is probably even more important. So what the numbers just got released yesterday. I think it was 9.1% CPI. Is that correct?
yes, sir. 9.1% CPI. So, which is the highest numbers in 41 years. If you saw it, it was led about through energy, which was up a crazy amount from a year ago. So you saw energy prices
was up like 37% or something, right? In just 1 year.
You're right. So you saw that, you saw with food, and you see new vehicles, which is huge amount of inflation from those three things. So that's the issue you have is inflation. I think with that being said, you're hearing that the Fed's going to raise the short-term interest rates or the federal open window market up 1% is what people are predicting right now. Might be from 75 basis points to 1. So it's crazy. Definitely crazy that they're going to raise that high, but we haven't seen inflation up this much at 9.1%. And that's one reason why President Joe Biden went out to Saudi Arabia to say, "Hey man, can you give us more barrels of oil, you and OPEC, so we can lower these oil prices out here?" So
So that was behind his trip to Saudi Arabia and to the Middle East, huh?
Yeah. So hopefully it works. If not, we'll see if the Feds actually have their plans going to work or not. I think it's going to be very interesting. So
Yeah, and there's very little the Fed could do, right? I mean, we talk about it's like turning around a battleship, and you talked about that it takes, sometimes a year to actually see on the streets or in the economy for the average person the effects of these rate increases. So, I mean, there's not much they could do. They could just basically keep boosting rates, and 1% is a crazy amount. Do you even know when the last time we raised rates 1%?
I do. I think this had to be not since our lifetime we've seen them raise rates that much.
Wow. Well, your lifetime is only like 21 years. Mine is like, 80 years now. So, different lifetime span, huh?
Nah, man. Don't put that on. Not 21, and you're not 85, man.
No, but it probably since, I mean, I don't know. I'll go back and look, but maybe the 1970s, they may have, but it was also a different financial structure back then as well.
Yeah.
But wow, that's fascinating. So yeah, Fed's July 16th and 17th, I think. No. Excuse me. Wait, is it 16th and 17th or 26th, 27th, or when are they meeting next?
They're meeting next, I believe it's next Wednesday, Thursday. So that's what 20, that's the 20th, 21st.
Okay. Yeah, I was completely off then.
And
But yeah,
then
that should be interesting if they raise it a point, and then what happens to the markets who are always freaking out one way or another in reaction, right?
right. And then oftentimes people think it's just interest rates that affect it. It's also supply chain issues. So we still
Mm,
have supply chain issues. And then we talk about Vegas being the gambling hub of the United States. Look what just happened in the gambling hub of China. They're shutting back down because of COVID. So this is not the So if they shut down certain parts of China, that's going to affect the supplies we get here. So it's more than just interest rates at this point to control this inflation. So, and it's not just the United States, it's the world. Look at Sri
yeah.
Lanka, people protesting. See the issues in India. It's not just America that has inflation, it's a worldwide issue of inflation right now.
And yeah, that's why, it's basically a three-headed monster, right? Between four-headed between COVID, supply chain, war in Ukraine, and then what's going on domestically with the market overheating and us printing too much money. So, the Fed raising interest rates may address one of those heads of that monster, but the other ones aren't going away. So, we did see mortgage rates come back down a little bit, which isn't related. We saw gas prices come back down to earth a tiny bit. Some, they're trying to pinpoint a couple bright spots in the inflation numbers that actually came down or were pretty steady, including subsets of food prices and stuff. But yeah, it's gotten a whole lot more expensive just to be a human being, huh?
Yeah, definitely, man. And then the Canada just raised their rates. So the first one, the G7 countries to raise the rates 100 basis points. And they did that
Mm.
yesterday. So people are thinking that America is going to follow. But now we're seeing also protests in Panama as well. So, interesting
By
time.
the way, did you
Interesting
see?
time.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, but did you mention before Sri Lanka? And I'm closer to that part of the world right now than I am in the U.S. living in Thailand. And man, that was a shit show. Everyone stormed the palace, right? And the presidential palace, and you had all these people off the street, tens of thousands of them swimming in the pool. I don't know if you guys got that footage on the news, but they were all just swimming in the pool. They were on like inflatable rafts, like just having a good old day. They were in the presidential gym, using the equipment. They were like jumping up and down on the presidential bed. It was a complete free for all. And then the president and the prime minister were like, all right, because of this, we're going to resign. No problem. We'll resign. So everyone leaves the presidential suite. The presidential palace. Military comes in, restores order again. And then they did a big pump fake. And the president was like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I think I'll stay president since I now have the military on my side.
Wow, I didn't realize he did pump fake and backed out.
He did
Wow,
a
that's
big
crazy.
old pump fake. Yeah, he was like, yeah, thanks for leaving, but no, I'm not going anywhere. That's just crazy, huh?
Crazy. And then you see now they're protesting in Panama now, which is
Wow.
Interesting, man. So food shortages is happening throughout the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know in the big picture, this may also force us, to address some of these things through technology, through, redoing supply chains, new trading partners, everything will sort of change, and through clean energy. And it may look back and be the big tipping point to clean energy, although it was, painful and horrible for, billions of people around the world, what's coming next. But I know the Biden administration too has sort of doubled down on their promotion of EV cars and clean energy and solar and stuff like that as a way to combat inflation. But that also takes time, huh?
Things take time, and the question is, are people patient enough for those things to happen?
What's going to happen next, you think?
So in November, we're going to have a red river in November. We're going to see
Mm,
Congress and the Senate turn Republican,
mhm.
and then we're going to see what happens in 2 years after that with presidency. Is it still going to be Biden? Is it going to be another Democrat? It's going to be Republicans. It's going to really be like the 70s, where in 80s, where eventually turns to being a Republican president for the next 12 years, where you have Reagan, then you have Bush.
Mm.
Who knows at this point? Who knows?
And Biden, things are absolutely rock bottom, miserable for him, now, 6 months ago, whatever. He has 2 years left, and a lot could happen in 2 years. And, people have short memories. If gas prices are under control and inflation's under control, I don't think he'll be president again. I think even Democrats, don't want an 89-year-old sitting president or whatever it is. Or I don't even know how old he is, but
He's
I
old,
think,
man. He is
yeah,
old.
yeah. But I think either way there'll be a different candidate. But yeah, he's got to pull a rabbit out of his hat in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and I think just America needs somebody who's young, energetic, and after COVID and this, just to get people excited all over again. You
Mm.
need another JFK or somebody who get people excited about where the country's headed to. I don't think people are that excited where we're headed to as a nation. It's time for that. We need some fresh young energy. I think we need young energy far as who leads Congress, who leads the Senate. I think America wants new, young, fresh energy, excitement, and ideas to lead this country again.
Well, half of America, or whatever the number is, wants that. So where I sit on that spectrum. But Trump brought a lot of energy, but he didn't bring a lot of good when it actually came to politics and helping the average person.
I think
Um,
I think young people, I don't care if you're red or blue right now. I think everybody wants fresh, new, young ideas, get people excited and believing how great America is again.
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely we need some dynamism, right? I think it was Elon Musk, who's just another whole topic. But for every time he acts like a spoiled toddler, he also says something absolutely genius or does something genius that's 20 years ahead of the time. But he was already saying that, we shouldn't allow presidential candidates who are older than 69 years old. I don't know why he chose that number, but I think it's a pretty damn good idea.
I'd say that. I would say for the head of the Senate, I think there should be an age cap on it. I think
Yeah.
Congress with Nancy Pelosi, McConnell, I think they're both old. I think even the Supreme Court, I think they had a lifetime, but when we first designed that, the average lifespan was what, not even 60 years old yet when we
Mm,
first enacted the Supreme Court. And now we have people who are old, who are not intact with American society or what's going on with normal people. They're going in challenges that people are going through every day. It's time for fresh young energy, and we need to start putting a age crunch on what's happening. You hear rumors that Feinstein has dementia, but she's still in Congress, running the Senate. She needed to do a better job succession planning and handing it over to somebody who's younger.
yeah.
And that's what we're missing. I think we're messing up as a society.
Yeah. And with that age, not also do you slow down and maybe mentally your energy or you take less risk. It's just the standard curve of being a human being and becoming older. But you become more entrenched and more beholden, meaning the people who got you in power, you're more beholden to them, and your power doubles every time you're in office, every couple of years, whatever it is. And so I think with younger people, it may be less special interest. They haven't had a 40-year relationship with a certain special interest group or a lobbyist, or, you know what I mean? So it's, I think, a little less cronyism and backdoor politics when you get younger candidates.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Now, Norm, get us some bright news. Tell us about July 24th in Tequila Day.
Oh, Tequila Day. All right. So July 24th is National Tequila Day, which is going to be, I don't know if you're a big tequila drinker. Are you more a whiskey, bourbon kind of guy?
I'm more of a bourbon whiskey guy, but I will be drinking my tequila on July 24th.
All right. Well, I know one tequila you probably are not going to be drinking, and that's the most expensive tequila ever created, which is called Tequila Ley, and Ley, and it's a market value for one bottle of $3.5 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess that's the brand, Tequila Ley, and then the actual the bottle, or that what do you call it? I'll edit this out. The type of tequila, I guess, is called 925 Diamante.
Okay.
And it was first sold in 2010. It's a premium extra añejo, made with 100% select agave, barrel aged for 7 years, all that fun stuff. But the bottle is the really interesting thing. It's crafted from nearly 5 pounds of pure platinum and encrusted with 4,100 perfectly white diamonds. So it took 10 months just to make the bottle, and one bottle sold for 3.5 million. I don't know, you line up that and Jose Cuervo, you think you'd be able to tell the difference if you couldn't see the bottle?
No, sir, but I can tell in the morning probably which one going to have me hungover, which one going to make me feel good.
And if you had to pay for, shots for you and your friends at the bar, you'd know the next day when you saw the bill, huh?
Yes, sir. We're not going to drink that. I just give them the regular cheap house tequila. They should be fine.
So I got another one for you. Since we talked about Tequila Day, we have one coming up even sooner, which is National Lottery Day. It's July 17th. By the time this comes out, it'll already have come and gone. But you had a couple interesting stats for us about Americans playing lottery and trying to win the lottery, huh?
Yes, sir. So Americans spend $70 billion per year on the lottery, more than any form of entertainment. That's more than movie tickets. That's more than sporting events. That's more than concerts. $70 billion. But the odds of winning the Powerball are 350 billion to 1. And 48% of people who win keep their day jobs. So the chances of winning are slim, next to none. But we love to spend money on the lotto, as many of us go broke, spend all this money on the lotto instead of other forms of entertainment.
That's crazy. Yeah. And then half the people who win still have to keep their day job, huh?
You have to still keep your day job. And it's, you see those movies or documentary of people who won the lotto and go broke. It's very interesting. How many people you see like, oh, went broke for one reason or another, and how it was a gift and the curse winning the lotto.
Oh, and the stats are crazy for people that win big amounts of money. The amount of divorce, bankruptcy, businesses failing, families broken up, depression, suicide, alcoholism, all that within only like 2 years. I mean, there's a good quote that I think you've told me too. It's, if you can't manage $100, you can't manage $100 million, right? And it just completely wrecks people's lives.
Big time. The friends and relationships you thought you had, you don't have them no more. It's sad, man. As you hear crazy stories about how sad it can be.
Now, I think I'd be able to handle it. You know why? I'd call you and I'd be like, number one, buy some of that $3.5 million tequila and get on a private jet and come be my financial advisor. So I couldn't do something stupid. So I think we'd be all right.
We made the first stupid mistake, $3.5 million bottle of tequila.
Yeah, good. It's an investment until you drink it. Jason, we're doing a lot of talking, of course, about inflation and the economy and how people can adjust in this podcast. And you actually have a big event coming up on July 27th to teach people more. So tell us a little about that.
Yeah, everybody, on July 27th at 12 o'clock, we are doing a Zoom online podcast, which you can find on Eventbrite. I should say Zoom online event where we're going to be discussing how to take advantage of inflation during this period of time. I know a lot of us, we've been talking about a lot of negativity about inflation, but there's a lot of places where you can park and place your money to take advantage of inflation. Find it on Eventbrite, how to look up Matthews Financial, look up on our website, and make sure you register for our July 27th event on how to take advantage of inflation.
That's great. And I'll definitely put the Eventbrite link in the show notes here because everyone should really attend that and realize and learn strategies to adjust specifically to inflation and what's coming to protect their money. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be attending that and learning from you guys since you take the time and put in the effort. So that sounds like a great event.
Thank you all for listening to C.R.E.A.M Podcast episode number 17. I appreciate you guys for listening through, for all the love and support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends and family.